I'm sure most of you have seen or heard about the Joy Reid and Pierre Morgan's interview. It was a pretty long interview, but this particular part of the interview, kind of want to say something on. Watch this.
Have you watched Brokeback Mountain?
No.
Okay. I mean,
And what is the point of that?
Well, because you said I don't want to watch the two male characters in Brokeback Mountain having sex.
Okay, so what does me watching Brokeback Mountain have to do with that book, whether or not it is
No,
pornographic?
nothing to do with the book.
That book, that is a book that people can have the opportunity to read if they so choose.
No, I'm not talking about the book.
I do not understand how an organization
I'm not talking about the book.
Make a decision. It is not about the movie. It is about whether or not Moms for Liberty.
I'm not talking about the book.
The organization who should make decisions for other people's children.
I'm not talking about the book,
whether
as you know.
I watched the movie or not makes absolutely no difference.
I'm talking about you posting on your blog that you wouldn't watch Brokeback Mountain because you don't want to see two male characters having sex. Does that make me homophobic? Probably. Most straight people cringe at the sight of two men kissing. Your words, not mine, Joy.
And your point is?
That maybe that makes you a bit of a hypocrite when you're taking the position of being an ally for the LGBTQ community. And actually, the best way to handle it, I would argue, is just to say, you know what? Actually, I did write that at the time. They're not my views now. I've learned, I've evolved, I've moved on. Trying to pretend even now that you didn't write it is preposterous. And I think you know that.
The bottom line is what I've said, and I will say it again, is that I take full responsibility for everything that was on that site. I'm deeply apologetic for the things that were on that site that hurt people, and I take responsibility for it because it was my site. And that's the end of that. And my views, as you know, and as I've said on television, on air, are quite different from the views that you just read. And that's the end of that.
Okay, so when the movie Brokeback Mountain came out, I don't know how old she is, but she was probably young. But it doesn't matter. Either way, that was the first time a movie like that came out in the mainstream, in the theaters, and the two actors that were involved, it was groundbreaking, and at the same time something that we weren't used to. I remember watching the movie, and I was young, so at that time I'm sure some people were like, oh my god, and some people were like, it didn't bother me. It didn't probably didn't bother some people, and some people were like, and some people probably loved it. So, for she should have just been honest. It's okay. Like Pierre Morgan said, if that's how she felt at that time, it was okay. People do evolve. But since it was something we weren't used to seeing, it was new to us. It made sense. All she had to say was, at that time, yeah, it wasn't something I was used to, but as time went on, I evolved. I'm sure some people at that time didn't accept such things, and as time went on, they got to probably know people and realize that their sexuality has nothing to do with who they are, and change how they feel about the community. So I don't know why she wasn't honest. I feel like some things you just be honest. Certain things, just be honest with it. You better off just being honest, and whatever consequences, fine. But at least you were honest. But she had to beat around it, and yeah, she said, I take responsibility, accountability. She was just talking about, she said, because the interview was long, she said something about she wasn't the only one that had access to her, that was her personal website, and she wasn't the only one that, or was it personal or work website, I don't remember, it was her website, and she wasn't the only one that had in access to her, to that website. So she's trying to say that someone might have gone in there and said and wrote those things on her behalf, which we all know is bullshit. So Yeah, it's just unfortunate she had to lie, and I feel like she lied. Yeah, I feel like she lied. She should have just been honest. There's nothing. It's we all evolve. I know I have.